Hello and welcome. My name is Ilia Bekou, Policy Advisor at EFAMA, and I'm happy to be hosting another edition of our Expert Insights video series. I have the pleasure of speaking today with Sven Gentner, Head of the Corporate Reporting Audit and Credit Ratings Agency Unit at the European Commission's FISMA. Sven today spoke with the members of EFAMA's ESG and Stewardship Standing Committee on the Omnibus Simplification Package. Today, we'll be discussing the key topics that our sector is focusing on this revision of the sustainability reporting. Sven, thank you very much for being here today and to share your views and the views of the Commission in such an important, crucial stage for the political and technical negotiations.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I'll start from the basic. Since the launch of the proposal, our association has warned against any further reduction in the scope of the CSRD under the Omnibus Simplification Package. But in light of the current negotiations in the Parliament and the general approach that was reached in June in the Council, we see that the discussions take the scope even further. And this has direct impact in the number of reporting companies that will end up in the CSRD reporting. What we want to hear from the Commission side is how they see these discussions in both institutions, and what are the next steps, or where the scope will land in the end.
Yeah, obviously it's a very important point. I mean, the proposal that we made in February, the Omnibus, was to reduce the scope considerably, because we think this is a way to reduce burden on companies. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that the overall framework still works and that we get enough reporting so that sustainability reporting can really play its role. As you know, what we proposed is to move the threshold from 250 to 1,000 in terms of the number of employees. We think this is a good area to land. I mean, it already means that you reduce the number of companies that have to report around 80%. It's quite a lot. But nevertheless, it leaves the big companies, the important ones, within scope to make sure that the whole system can work. It won't come as a surprise to you that we think that is still a good solution. And that's also what we're going to argue for, of course, in the trilogue negotiations. They haven't started yet. As you said, we're waiting for the Parliament to finalize its position. And then I do hope that we can come together very quickly and then also find a good compromise. But once more, I think what we proposed, obviously, is a good area, we think, where we should land.
Thank you. This is very encouraging, actually, what we hear. And maybe a second topic that is closely related is data availability. As asset managers, we rely on corporate reporting to get information, both for our compliance obligations under other regulations, but also to make, informed investment decisions. Thus, our industry is concerned that in this current negotiations, they will have to further rely on estimates, they see further data gaps, and they will also rely further on third-party ESG data providers that sometimes also actually they are even located outside the EU, which is also another problem for us.
Yeah, I mean, it has always been our goal that the whole chain of information flow really works in financial markets on sustainability reporting. That was the very reason why we tried to establish this system. So what's important is that the corporates provide information, that financial market participants receive that information, and they themselves pass on information, that in the end investors get a better view of all the developments in the markets. And that still remains our goal. And for that, like you said, it's very important that the different pieces really fit together. So what we're doing at the moment is we're reviewing the CSRD and we're reviewing the ESRS. We'll see changes there, we'll see reductions, but nevertheless, we want to make sure that what is then provided into the market works in terms of this chain. So the next step will be, we're also going to review the SFDR, as you know, so that the two fit together, and also for other reasons. And the same goes for other pieces of regulation. In the end, what we need is a system that allows from the start of the chain to the end of the chain to everything work together, and for everyone to really fully understand the information on sustainability. You talked about estimates. I think they do play a role, and this is also recognized in the ESRS, because not everything always has to be based on direct interaction, say in your value chain or through questionnaires. Obviously, these estimates need to be well founded. They need to be founded on a good methodology, but I think that they can also play a role. So both need to come together, direct interaction with the other entity or really relying on very good estimates that are founded on proper methodology.
Thank you very much. I'll take it a bit further on the data availability, and a topic closely related as well is reporting obligations. We saw EFRAG's draft exposure on the ESRS revision. The consultation is still running, and a question that we see in this whole debate is, first, did EFRAG deliver? They say that it's a 68% reduction on the total disclosure obligations. And the second topic is that we hear the public discourse, we participate in that, and we notice certain discrepancies between the users, the needs of the users and the needs of the preparers. And then the question goes a step further, and we ask what the Commission will do in order to address a right balance between what the preparers can deliver and what the users need in order to do their own assessments.
I mean, when we made the Omnibus proposal in February, it was very clear that one key element is the revision of the standards. And I mean, we've been talking to EFRAG already. Our Commission also interacted with them very early on. We sent letters to really explain what we expect. And I think the message to EFRAG is very clear, and they also understand what their role is now. The public consultation is still running. We're very keen to understand now what stakeholders think about the work that EFRAG has done. And I mean, they had not an awful lot of time. It was a lot that they had to do. But I think it's very promising what they put out for consultation already. So for us, from a Commission's perspective, we're now waiting simply for stakeholder feedback. I think EFRAG then still has time to look at that feedback and make some changes to the exposure draft. We expect EFRAG's input to reach the Commission by the end of November, and then it will be our role to assess this once more. We go through our usual process where we'll also reach out to member states and other bodies, where we'll also run our own very limited consultation once more before we then come with a final delegated act.
Thank you very much for this very useful insights, and thank you for taking the time today to speak to us and such an important topic for the sustainable finance framework. We really appreciate your engagement and your work and the work of your team on this topic, and we hope to continue this engagement with you as asset managers. Thank you very much.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure to be here.